Great. Well, good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us for the February 1st Friday webinar. We're very excited to have Ben, Cate, and Tess here with us to present tips, tricks, and tactics for learning with NWACUHO, a guide to professional development through the annual conference. Before I let them get to their excellent presentation, I have a couple of updates. This session will be recorded, so if you'd like to turn off your cameras, you can do that at this time. At the end of the session, we will be posting a link to the evaluation form, which helps give us some feedback on the webinars and give some guidance for future webinars. Also, if you are interested in presenting as part of our First Friday webinar series, please email prodev@northwestcuho.org, which I'll also be putting in the chat there. As well, we are excited to offer a Brown Bag Roundtable series on student engagement leading into our 2021 annual conference. We have 2 more roundtables left in this series, one today at 12 p.m. PST on student staff recruitment and another in 2 weeks' time on resident and student staff engagement. Feel free to bring some questions you'd like to discuss with members throughout the region, or just bring your lunch and listen in. I'll be posting a link to that in the chat now as well. Thank you everyone for being here, and without further ado, I will pass it over to our presenters.
Great, thank you, Chris, and welcome everyone. My name is Cate Morrison. I work with eRezLife software. I'm also involved in the Virtual Arrangements Committee, and that has been an extremely rewarding experience for me to kind of understand how the conference has been planned, kind of the challenges and things, the commitment to the profession, and trying to address that gap in learning that's occurred due to COVID, and how we can still have a conference experience while we're still all in our different areas and different institutions. So I think that's my motivation for being here, and why I'm part of the presentation crew today. I'm going to turn it over to Tess, and she'll introduce herself as well and why she's here.
Hi everybody, my name is Tess Bickley. I'm a Residence Life Coordinator at Mount Royal University. I was originally on the Local Arrangements Committee when we were still hoping that we could have that in-person conference, but unfortunately we had to make quite a pivot, but I think that what we've got going on for the virtual conference is still going to be an amazing experience for everybody. I am also a part of the Virtual Arrangements Committee, and after that pivot to an online format, I still really wanted to be involved, and similar to what Cate just said, I think she put it very well. Really wanted to be involved in getting this off the ground and having a virtual conference this way. And I'll pass it to Ben.
And hello all, my name is Ben Medeiros. I use he, him, his pronouns, and I work at Oregon State University as part of the residential education team there. I'm also involved with NWACUHO through my membership on the board as our current corporate relations director. And so some of my role with the conference has been related to that. And I'm excited to talk with you all this morning. We also wanted to start the presentation by acknowledging the land that we're on, and that each of us, wherever we are zooming in or attending this webinar right now, are in different places. We want to acknowledge that in both Canada and the United States, there is a long history, right, and a legacy of colonization that continues to impact Indigenous peoples. So honoring our occupancy of this land is really just a minimum threshold. So we encourage folks to continue this process of reflection and learning to critically engage within our communities by actively engaging, not just in conversation or in words, but also in action towards the pursuit of justice.
And so this logo that we have, I actually ended up designing it. And I think for me, the thought process behind that was to really focus on all the possibilities that this virtual conference can bring to us. There's really amazing things that make each member of NWACUHO unique, that each of the different states and the provinces that we have. But you'll see that kind of the focal point of this logo is the sky, and no matter where you are, we're all kind of like looking up at the same sky. And that was kind of the intention behind this logo, and to bring us back together when we're also, it's so necessary for us to be apart right now. And then the tree is incorporated in that logo because it really brings the conference back to its roots, with the core purpose of making connections and really reminding us of eventually where we will return to again. And And so we just wanted to do a quick run through of the agenda. This is what we're going to be, the bulk of what we'll be talking about today. So we'll start with the value of attending Northwest ACUHO, what you can get out of this conference, and talking about all the opportunities that there's going to be. We'll go through a little bit of the schedule and the format, and then tips for attending, and then making most of the conference. And then we'll talk more about Northwest ACUHO specific events, like all the socials and things that are going to be happening there. And then we'll leave time at the end for some questions in the Q&A.
Wonderful. Thanks, Tess. So in terms of the value of Northwest ACUHO, I think that you will find you'll get all of the same value that you would out of an in-person conference, maybe even more. One of the benefits of the online or virtual experience is that a lot of the sessions will be recorded. And so if you can't make it to all of them because different things are happening on your campus or you're called away to different things, you will be able to watch those recordings, I believe, for about 2 weeks afterwards. It's a great opportunity to learn from others. We have 2 keynote speakers, 6 different interest session times, and ample opportunities to learn from each other. So take advantage of that. One of the things I always struggle with at conferences is there's 2 sessions I want to go to at the same time, and you have to pick. You don't have to pick this time. It's brilliant. So you can go to one in real time and watch the other one later. So you really can maximize your learning and the opportunities that you have. The second big value that the Northwest ACUHO conference will give you is exactly what Tess just said when she was describing the logo. You have the opportunity to connect with both people that you've known for a really long time or new friends. It can be really difficult to forge new connections in an online environment. So the committee and everyone involved has taken additional steps to create those opportunities to make new connections. And find people that you need to connect with to further your learning and further your development. We're going to talk about those in a little bit, so I'm not going to chat too much about that. And then the last thing I just wanted to articulate in terms of the value is taking that time to ideate and think about what you can take away from the conference. So reflection is a big component of any conference experience, whether in the moment or later. Make sure you're taking those notes. If you have a light bulb moment in a session or when someone else is speaking, tell someone about it, either in real time, in the chat function. It's really important to share those experiences, both to hold ourselves accountable, but somebody else might not have seen the same thing, but would value from your learning. And so I just encourage you to keep thinking about the applicability on your campus and at your institution, and how you can, again, make connections through sharing your learning with others. The second thing I'm going to talk to you about is expectations. So in my role, I've been very fortunate to be able to attend quite a few regional virtual conferences in the last year. And I can tell you that they're not the same. And so while we have created a similar experience for you and the knowledge shared will be very similar, the experience of a virtual conference is not the same as an in-person. And so it's really important to set realistic expectations for yourself about what that looks like. Even if you close your door and you shut your calendar off from people booking, if you're in your office or you're seen as available on campus, people will be in touch with you. So it's really around those expectations and setting those for others of you're at a conference, you're focused on that conference, or you're available during these times, these are your break times, or you're just okay, like I said before, with missing a live session and watching it later. There's just, I think, the expectation of yourself and others is important to articulate when you're going into the conference experience. The other thing is around learning styles. And so personally, I find it much easier to be in a room and listen to someone in real life than on a screen, but that's obviously not a reality of our lives right now. So recognizing what is your threshold for learning online and planning that out. So if there are particular sessions that you want to be at in real time and experience that chat function, for example, prioritize those, because we all know Zoom fatigue is real. And if you're on a screen for 8 hours at our conference, maybe by the end, you'll not be at your best. And that's kind of when the social times usually occur. And so really thinking about that intentionally and considering what is your threshold for that and how can you be at your best. Take those breaks when you need them and take advantage of that. The other thing is the schedule. The schedule is pretty traditional. You'll see that in a minute. There is some unstructured time, though, where you can choose to engage with others. So download or look at the agenda in advance and plan ahead, as I've said about 1,000 times already. Take some notes and think about who you might want to connect with. So even if you can't attend someone's session due to prior commitments or a conflict in the schedule, think about how you might engage with that person outside of the session. So for example, if Becca was presenting on a topic that you're really interested in, maybe you reach out to her in a different way. And then you can engage that way. So you're not missing out on the opportunity to chat with someone that you want to learn from. The other thing is, if there's other people from your institution attending, talk to them about what sessions they're going to. There can be benefit in learning together and experiencing something together, but there can also be huge benefit for your institution in diversifying and attending different sessions from different people. And then do you want to book in some time to connect with others from your institution about the learning? So do you book a week out and say, we're going to share what we've learned? Do you connect at the end of the day? Really think about that sharing that can occur as a result of the schedule. And then the last thing I want to talk about is the format. So there will be a conference, a Northwest NWACUHO conference site. So I believe you'll have access to that sometime next week, but feel free to correct me if that's wrong. Take a couple minutes to familiarize yourself with the site and make sure that you understand how it works. Yay, I was right, thank you. Familiarize yourself, make sure you know how it works, make sure your Zoom works the way that you want and your name appears the way that you want. I've seen many people, and I actually missed sharing my pronouns at the beginning, but if you put your pronouns in your Zoom name, that also can be really beneficial for the group. Also think about how your camera looks, your background, your Zoom name. Do you need snacks? I'm a big snack person. So like I always keep snacks in my desk for those emergency times so I don't miss the right information. Similarly with water, I always have water there, and also considering your distractions in advance. One of the things I recently heard was around having your video on or not. And I know it can be very intimidating to share your video when you're in as an attendee in a conference roundtable or discussion. But what that does is help humanize you, as you're not just someone who may or may not be paying attention. And so if possible, and if it's presented, leave your camera on. People like to see your face. And then that allows you that extra level of connection that you don't get through a virtual setting. Just humifies you. I don't know if humify is a word, but we're going to pretend it is. And then allows people to give you the credit you deserve. So the conference schedule, as Bob said, will be on there soon. It's February 23rd to 25th. And if you're looking to block some times off while you think about what sessions you are so that other people don't book meetings in with you, the times on the screen are the times that you should be blocking off. Those are kind of when the chunk of the conference scheduling occurs. I'm not going to go through it in detail because you can look at that on your own. But as mentioned, there are a lot of different kinds of sessions. We have 2 keynote sessions, 6 interest blocks. There's some evening socials, which Tess is going to talk about in a little bit. There's opportunities to connect with your mentor. The business meeting will take place on Thursday. And so it'll be important to think about that and how your institution chooses to attend that. There's affinity socials. There's connection time where you can reach out to someone and connect with other attendees. There's some sprint sessions. There's a student panel. All of these things will tie into your conference experience. So again, consider which you would like to attend. And if you're able to attend all of them, you will have an amazing experience. So my 3 tips, which I will kind of leave you with: plan in advance, be realistic about your time, and consider your connections and who you want to connect with. And that's it.
Thanks, Kate. I wanted to share, given my role on the board, working more closely with some of our corporate members, like Kate, I want to acknowledge them and thank them for their involvement this year with Northwest NWACUHO. It might be no surprise to many of you that many of them have been significantly impacted by the pandemic, just like many of our home institutions have been hit by this. And so I want to acknowledge them, and that it's their partnership that makes possible events like our annual conference, especially when the decision was made to provide the experience at no cost to our institutional members. So I just want to say that their sponsorship is much appreciated. For those who may not know this, and I know the schedule hasn't been fully released, I know our corporate members are in the loop, but there will not be a traditional exhibit space this year as part of the conference. There will be an opportunity, though, to include our corporate members in parts of the annual conference, and they will have access to the entire conference to attend. So they may be attending alongside in the various interest sessions, the keynotes, and the social opportunities as well. I do want to highlight, if you are a corporate member watching this now or maybe viewing this later, there will be a pre-conference roundtable set up specifically for you on day one. And I'm looking forward to having an opportunity to touch base in person, to network with each other, but also to talk a little bit more about, if you are interested, how to be more involved with Northwest NWACUHO, even beyond the annual conference. And so, we have corporate members who have been a part of the programming committee, who've been a part of the virtual arrangements committee, like Cate has shared. We welcome that involvement through the year. We're also setting a drop-in time on day 2 so that conference attendees can check in with corporate members. For those of you who may be new to the annual conference, I think you'll find this relationship building is a key part of the conference experience. And so I want to encourage each of us on this call, and those who may not be on this call, but maybe are viewing this later, that whatever your functional area in housing or your experience in the field, I hope that you will take advantage of this opportunity to network, and not just with corporate members, but also with each other as housing professionals. That would be probably the biggest tip or tactic that I could share for the annual conference. And especially that there won't be the traditional exhibitors space. Please do take advantage of this drop-in time on day 2. And some additional tips I would share. Look at the conference platform website ahead of time. You can read the list of corporate members who have graciously agreed to be sponsors this year, and see who may be there. And maybe prep a list of folks that you may want to touch base with or speak with, and look for them in your sessions, whether that be in social opportunities or interest sessions. They have a unique perspective given their role, and we can learn a lot of things from them, just also like they can learn from us, learning about the challenges or the successes we're having at our own institutions. So know that this isn't just for senior housing officers or for managers. New professionals, you are welcome, and I know that relationship building absolutely extends to you, and you may never know when that information or those connections could be handy in your position. I also want to plug, connected to one of the opportunities through one of our corporate members is the Advancing Professionals Challenge, which is an opportunity for folks who may identify as mid-level professionals. You'll work together with a team to overcome a housing challenge while taking into account specific prompts and parameters that will test your knowledge and encourage creative solutions. It's a fun opportunity. You'll get to network and meet other folks throughout the region. So I want to thank Malin for their sponsorship of this challenge. And if you haven't already registered, you can reach out to me, and I'd be happy to sign you up. I'd also like, if you are a new professional, to promote the New Professionals Case Study opportunity. Details will be shared a little more later, but you'll have the opportunity to take the role of a senior housing officer with a team and navigate a challenging situation that you'll be presented as part of the case study. Participants will be assigned to teams, and their case study presentations will be judged by other housing professionals who are esteemed within the region, and winners will receive a certificate and recognition as case study winners. I will also say, you can sign up for this opportunity through your registration as part of the conference. If for some reason you didn't sign up and you would like to be added to this opportunity, you can email Janie Sacco at pastpres@northwestacuho.org. And then lastly, I would like to promote our committees. There are certainly opportunities to be involved at the annual conference and to network with others, but I would encourage all of us to extend our conference experience by getting involved in Northwest NWACUHO beyond the month of February. Committees are a great way to get more involved. It's also a great opportunity for professional development. and an excellent way to continue building those relationships and making those connections with other folks within the region. You may have seen this opportunity as part of your conference registration to sign up for one of these committees, but you can also join these committees at any time during the year by emailing the committee chairs directly at the email addresses listed on the slide. If you're looking for descriptions of each of the committees, you can access that on the NWACUHO website. So we've also provided that web link. And I sincerely hope that if you're not already involved and you're looking for an opportunity for involvement, that this can be an avenue for you. And with that, I will send it to Tess.
Awesome. Thanks, Ben. So the fun doesn't just start after the opening ceremonies. We have a couple of pre-conference roundtables that are going to be taking place. This conference is going to offer many excellent opportunities to learn through the scheduled sessions, but there's so much more outside of that you can take advantage of. These pre-conference roundtables will be taking place in the morning of the 23rd before the conference opening. You'll be able to see exactly what times once the schedule is released. You can sign up for a pre-conference session to expand your knowledge and opportunities. We have the New to NWACUHO, which is an opportunity for folks that are new to the profession to chat and make some connections with others who are new to the region. We have the past president's reception, and then like Ben kind of mentioned earlier, we have a roundtable for our corporate members as well. So lots to get involved with. It's going to be fun. And then continuing that fun, we have some socials planned for you. So our main one, which is the evening social, we're going to be having a talent show combined with a virtual scavenger hunt. We want to see your talents. This is the first time we'll be hosting an online talent show. It doesn't necessarily need to be something like singing or playing an instrument, though it can be. We would love to see that. If we want to see your painting, your knitting projects, your woodworking skills, there are more ways to be involved in a talent show and to be talented than just something that you might see or might typically think of. And then in addition to that, we have, the scavenger hunt, which will have you searching for locations and landmarks and institutions from around the region using Google Maps. So that's very exciting. Those are going to be combined events on the 24th. And then something else that we're doing this year, which is really unique, is a cookbook that everybody who is attending the conference is able to submit to. Food is really central to making connections. Typically in the conference, we would be going for dinner together, we'd be eating lunch together, a lot of those types of things. So we wanted to try to keep the spirit of that. And cooking is a talent within itself. So maybe if you don't want to perform, you could still submit a recipe, and that would be really awesome. We want to see all of our talented bakers and cooks out there to put something into the cookbook to be shared with all of our attending participants. And we also have a bingo sheet, which is being created by Desiree on our virtual arrangements committee, and those will be posted to the NWACUHO social media accounts. So keep an eye out for those. Basically, you'll be screenshotting them and crossing them off and playing bingo exactly as you would, but just in a virtual format. And the talent show and scavenger hunt will be taking place, sorry, I said the 24th earlier, to the 23rd. And then there was also Affinity Social that is being run by the Diversity and Inclusion Committee, and that's going to be taking place on the evening of the 24th. If you are interested at all in being added to the evening program or the cookbook, we'll be posting a link in the chat in a moment to submit for a link that you can submit those to. It's really a great opportunity to get involved, and also just a really good time to debrief. And after a long day of Zoom fatigue, then it might be good to just de-stress with some friends and colleagues and reconnect. Awesome, thanks. Let's go to the next slide, Cate. And something else that's really unique that we're doing this year, typically with NWACUHO, we're sponsoring one organization, we're giving a donation, but this year, because it was a virtual format, we wanted to go in a little bit of a different direction and support food banks from each member state and province. And in addition to a donation from NWACUHO, all funds raised from the sale of the sticker and pin combo will go towards those local food banks. They're $15 for a for a sticker and pin combo, and they can be purchased now or during the conference via the online store. And then I'm going to pass it to Becca really quick just to talk about more ways to get involved in supporting our food banks.
Yeah, definitely. So, like Tess mentioned, it worked out that we were able to get nonprofits from kind of our 5 main states and provinces, which is super, super exciting. And so we have a base donation that we're giving from the region. And then, as she mentioned, the funds that we're raising from our stickers and pins. But we also want to really encourage folks to connect with these organizations one-on-one, particularly if you don't have the extra cash, either personally or institutionally, to do pins and things like that, or to maybe donate one-on-one. To connect with these organizations and see kind of what service needs they have. Do they have local chapters where you can do projects with them? Do they have specific needs where maybe, you know, they're not necessarily just asking for cash donations, but they're looking for XYZ? We just really want to encourage folks to connect with these organizations. I know a lot of them, particularly the 2 Canadian ones, are sort of overreaching in the province themselves, and so they'll be able to also kind of connect you with places closer to where your institution might be. So yeah, we just really want to encourage people to like kind of have these on your radar and continue being involved beyond just what we're able to donate regionally. Yeah.
Awesome, thank you. And then just to close off, does anybody have any questions about anything that we've talked about or anything that's come up for you? Feel free to unmute or type in the chat. I also just added the links into our chat for both the sticker and pin combo, and if you want to get involved with the cookbook and talent show.
One thing to add to Tess's cookbook thing is that it doesn't have to be an original recipe. So, you know, we're not expecting y'all to be creating your own things. So if you are using a recipe from a cookbook that you love or a website, just make sure you cite that and it will still be included.
Yes, thank you. Awesome. Well, thank you for joining us, everybody. This was really awesome. And we hope you enjoyed our presentation and are getting excited about the NWACUHO Conference.
I just wanted to quickly say that we have representation here from the Diversity and Inclusion Committee to speak on and answer questions about the Affinity Social if there are any.
Awesome, thank you. Doesn't seem like there are any questions. That's okay. We covered everything, so there's no questions. If you do think of anything, though, please feel free to reach out.
I want to thank you so much, Cate, Ben, and Tess, for your presentation today. I know the session was extremely helpful as we are all gearing up for the conference coming up in a couple weeks now. So, yeah, thank you so much for being here to present, and thank you all for joining us today. And don't forget to follow the link in the comments, which I'll be posting in a minute, to fill out the First Friday webinar evaluation. As well, don't forget to join us for this afternoon's roundtable, which the link has also been placed in the chat, and I'll post that again. But overall, just thank you so much for being here, and then big thank you again to Cate, Ben, and Tess for the presentation today. I hope you all have a great rest of your week and weekend.